Baiklah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebelum saya membaca teks dari Mr. Robbi, sebelumnya perkenalkan nama saya Rio Andika, bisa dipanggil Rio, dengan nomor BP 2101000001, dari jurusan Etika Akuntansi. Di sini saya akan membacakan teks dari Mr. Robbi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The evolution of banking over time. What is this? The history of banking. Banking has been around since the first currencies were minted, perhaps even before that, in some form or another. Currency, in particular, coins grew out of the taxation as empires expanded. Functional systems were needed to collect taxes and distribute wealth. Understanding banking history. The history of banking began when emperors needed a way to pay for francs, goods and services with something that could be exchanged easily. Coins of varying size and metals eventually replaced fragile, imperm- imperm- impermanent paper bills. Coins, however, needed to be kept in a safe place, and a saint home did not have steel safes. According to World History Encyclopedia, whilst people in ancient Rome keep their coins and jewels in the basement of temples. The prince the presence of priests or temple workers who were somewhat defunct and harnessed, and armed guard aided a sense of security. Historical record from Greece, Rome, Egypt, and ancient Babylon have the suggested that temples loaned money or in addition of keeping in safe. The hike the fact that most temples also functioned as the financial centers of their cities is a major reason why they were ransacked during wars. Coin could be hoarded more easily than other commodities such as 3,000 pounds, pigs 300 pounds. Pigs, for example, so a class of wealth merchants took to lending coin with interest to people in need. Templates typically handled large loans to various sovereigns, and wealthy merchants. Moneylender handled the rest. The first bank, the first bank, the Roman The Romans, who were expert builders and administrators, extracted banking from the temples and formalized in within distinct buildings. During during this time, moneylenders still provide as loan sharks do today, but much legitimate commerce and almost all government spending involved the use for an institutional in, institutional bank. According to World History Encyclopedia, Julius Caesar, in one of the edicts changing Roman law after his takeover, gives the first example of allowing banker to confiscate land in lieu of loan payment. This was a monumental seize of power in the relationship of creditor and debtor. as landed noblemen uh, were into into cable throughout most of history, passing depth of this dance until either the creditor of debtors the next died out. Died out. The Roman Empire eventually crumbled, but some of its banking institutions lived on in the form of the papal bankers that emerged in the Holy Roman Empire and the Knight Templar during the Crusades. Small-time moneylender that competed with the Crus were often the notes from usury. Viceroyal eventually the various monarchs that resonated over Europe knew the strike of banking institutions as bank excited by the grace and occasionally explicit characters and contracts of the ruling sovereignty, the royal power began to take loans to make up overhead time as the royal treasure, often on the knight trim. This easy financing led king into usury, extravagance, costly wars, and armed races with neck-born kingdom that would often lead to crushing debt. In 1570, Philip II of Spain managed to burden his kingdom with so much debt as the result of several ponderous wars that they caused the world's first national bankruptcy, as will the world's second, third, and fourth in a rapid succession. This occurred because 14% of the country's gross national product (GNP) was going toward surface, surfacing surfacing the debt. 5. The trend of turning a blind eye to the credit or worthiness of big customers continues to haunt back today. Adam Smith, Adam Smith, and modern banking. Banking was already Banking was already well established in the British Empire when Adam Smith introduced the invisible hand theory in 1760, empowered by his views of a self-regulated economy. Moneylender and banker managed to limit the status involvement in the banking sector and the economy as a whole. One, this free market capitalism and competitive banking found fertile ground in the known world, where is United States of America was about to emerge. Initially, Smith's ideas did not benefit the American banking industry. The average, the average life for an American bank was 5 years, after which most banknotes from the defaulted banks become worthless. This stated character being called after all only issue banknote again the gold and silver coin then had in reserve. A bank robbery means a lot more than that in does now in the again of deposit insurance and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation FDE FDEC. Compounding this risk was the cyclical cash crash in America. Alexander Harm, Hamilton, a former secretary of the Treasury, established a national bank that would accept member banknotes at par. These floating banks struck difficult times. After a few stop-starts, cancellation, and restoration, the national bank created a uniform national currency and set up a system by which national bank backed their were not by purchasing treasury securities, thus creating a liquid market. The national bank pushed out the competition through the imposition of tax on the relatively lawless state banks. Uh, the the DMAC had been done already, however, as African American as had already grown to distrust bank and banker in general. This feeling will lead Texas State to auto corporated bank allow that stood until 109 eh 1940. Sekian dari saya. Eh 100 100 1904. Sekian dari saya. Lebih dan kurang saya mohon maaf. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.